Good morning, everyone, and please welcome to the Resource Map webinar being presented by staff at the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services, Office of Probation and Correctional Alternatives, as well as other partners in the community that I'll mention very soon. This is a map of vocation, education, and advocacy programs, resources to probation and community corrections professionals. I'd like to turn it over first to our Director and Deputy Commissioner of the Office of Probation and Correctional Alternatives, Mr. Robert Macaron.
Thank you, Michelle, and good morning, everyone. This is an exciting program that we have for you, and the staff have worked very hard on this. So very much appreciate and want to acknowledge the work of the Burr Unit here at the Office of Probation and Correctional Alternatives, which is led by Michelle Clark and Taylor Alfred, who's done the majority, I think, of the heavy lifting on implementing the Google Maps for you. This is an exciting project. First and foremost, I want to take this opportunity to wish you, your families, and your staff well at this difficult time. I know we are all very tired of the coronavirus. Wish we never heard it. But as the governor says, it is not tired of us, unfortunately. And so I want to encourage you and the members of your staff and your families to stay the course. Continue to do everything that you can in social distancing, using the mask, and cutting down on interactions that are unnecessary. We all hope and look forward to the day next year when we can do this in person. But for the time being, this is the way we've got to communicate. And the vaccine is around the corner. The light is at the end of the tunnel, as the governor says, but it's a long tunnel. So it is important for each and every one of us to stay the course. So I want to say that, and I also want to take this opportunity to wish you and your families and your staff happy holiday, safe, and one that is in good health and good stride. We have an exciting program this morning. This really is comprised of probation departments, alternatives to incarceration programs throughout the state of New York, the county reentry task forces. We extended an invitation to the employment-focused services programs, the GIVE program, specially funded program for DCJS that targets gun-involved individuals, as well as SNUG partners and our friends at the outreach program, SNUG, that DCJS funds in 11 communities, as well as our partners at the Department of Correction and Community Supervision. This project really began with the intent of creating a directory online of services for education, vocation, mentoring, educational advocacy, and of course, Centers for Community Dispute Resolution, one that would include the labor resources that are available to us, as well as the education resources that are available to us in so many ways, through the Attain Labs, through the ELC centers, and through the Access VR. I know Michelle is going to introduce our guests a little later in the program, and so I'm not going to steal her thunder. But I do want to thank all of you for participating, taking time out of your busy schedules today and presenting on behalf of the DCJS OPCA Google Maps program. I think this is just the beginning. I look at this as an opportunity to continue our partnership and also refine the map. So I give it back to you, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner Macaron. So with introductions, myself and Ms. Taylor Alfred, Community Corrections Representative 2 from the Vocation, Education, Employment, and Reentry Unit here at OPCA. She'll be making several comments today and taking us through the resource map pretty granularly. We have Daniel Coates from the New York State Unified Court System, Office of Alternative Dispute Resolution Programs. We have Dr. Don Aplier, Director of Program Development and Community Initiatives for New York State Department of Labor. as well as Joseph Tedesco, Manager of Independent Living Services Statewide Coordinator for Business Relations at the New York State Education Department, Access VR. So to just briefly go over the webinar objectives for today, we want you to understand, actually, I'm going to turn this part over to Taylor. Quite honestly, I apologize. This is something that I'd like Taylor to address with the group. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here today. By the end of this webinar, you will not only be able to understand the purpose behind this resource map, but you'll also be able to navigate the skills. You'll have the skills to navigate the map yourselves in order to better assist the clients that you serve in understanding the resources that are available to them. Lastly, you will be able to visually pinpoint and search for the program location using the features of the map that we will go through later. I am going to actually pull up the map later in the presentation, but I wanted to just give you a preview. So this is actually what the Google Maps looks like and what you will be seeing and what we will be going through. The map itself is built in, is online, is available to anybody with a link on any phone, tablet, or computer. It's specifically built in a platform called My Maps. And each pin that you see here on the map is color represented based on the category that the program falls into. We will be getting into much more detail on this later in the presentation, but I wanted to at least just put an image in your mind so when we're talking about the map, you can kind of visually know exactly what it's going to look like. Before we move forward, I would like to mention that we wouldn't have been able to complete this project without the help from Allison Mata, who is an administrative assistant here at OPCA. She was instrumental in the data entry and the program research, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank you, Allison.
Thank you, Taylor.
And now, Michelle, back to you for the purpose.
Back to me. So with respect to our resource map and the purpose behind this, as Bob mentioned earlier, this project began with our implementation of the Raise the Age law and the goal of identifying services available to youth. And it grew into a larger process and project to include services that will absolutely be helpful to adults as well as many community corrections agencies and our partners. Essentially, this is a map that probationers and participants and clients in the community can use as well as practitioners. So it's a catalog, per se, of, as Deputy Commissioner Macaron mentioned, vocation, education, employment, mentoring, dispute resolution, and advocacy services throughout New York State. I'm going to show you layer by layer what we've included thus far. It's contemporary and relevant. With that, I mean that we partnered with many people in the community to ensure that we have the right information in this resource map. And we will maintain this map. It is easily updated to include new programs. We are committed to and dedicated to making sure that the map is up to date as best as possible, and we will continuously work to make revisions, make deletions or additions as necessary. So the next slide really gives you the layers of the resource map. And while Taylor is going to walk you through the functionality and give you a tutorial on how to use it, I'm just going to briefly go over some of these layers. The map is divided up into many categories, as you can see here. There's a listing of those layers and the colors assigned to each layer. There's no particular level of importance to the order of these layers. They are not in ABC order, as though they might seem that at the beginning. We were building the map, and this is just where each actual layer was placed. It's also important to note that you will be more than likely searching in the map based on the region that you're in, the state, rather than scrolling through a lot of programs. So it'll be easy for you to do that. So a brief overview of these layers include Access VR, which assists individuals with disabilities to achieve and maintain employment and to support independent living through training, education, rehabilitation, and career development. Very, very important tool for probation departments and ATI, as well as any community departments to use and be aware of when working with the individuals that we serve. There's both these Questar programs, alternative education programs listed in this map. They have a high focus on vocational training and trade skill development. We have DOL career centers in the map. They are separate from the field offices, and they offer counseling, resume development, workshops, resource rooms such as computers, phones, fax machines. They have job search resources and placement assistance. They also offer vocational training and access recruitment events. They provide access to recruitment events for their clients. Job Corps is listed here, and Job Corps is the largest nationwide residential career training program. This program helps eligible young people ages 16 through 24 complete their high school education and trains them for meaningful careers, assists them with obtaining employment. At Job Corps, students have access to room and board while they learn skills and specific training areas for up to 3 years. As a probation officer for many years, I utilized Job Corps within my region numerous times, and several of the people that I worked with, the probationers, the young folks that I worked with, really did find success through these programs. You can go on through Job Corps to enter the workforce or find an apprenticeship, or even go on to higher education and join the military. Youth Build is also a layer here, young adults between the ages of 16 and 24 who are neither in school nor employed. These people could work together to reclaim their education and gain job skills, as well as become leaders in their community with the help of Youth Build. There are conflict resolution programs in this map, and we have someone from the conflict resolution centers to go over these programs in depth with you. We have advocacy services, which is our most diverse category, that contains legal services, Empire Justice Centers, education and youth advocacy programs, such as Osborne, Parent to Parent, Family Matters, and ICANN. We have also added literacy programs funded by the New York State Education Department that offer adult literacy classes, English as a second language classes, and various other HSE, high school equivalency, prep courses for youth and adults. Last but certainly not least, our partners at SUNY UCAUD, the EOCs, and Attain Labs. We recently had a really robust webinar with our partners from SUNY UCAUD on October 30th. And just to let you know that webinar is going to be posted to the DCJS website if it hasn't been already. I'll defer to Taylor on that momentarily. But these EOCs provide an integrated system of education, training, and student support services to disadvantaged and adult residents. They offer targeted services to business and industry to upgrade skill levels of their incumbent workers. They collaborate with schools to assist in academic prep for youth at risk. They provide so many opportunities for individuals coming out of incarceration and those who have been touched by the justice system. And they narrow the digital divide in economically challenged communities by placing technology where it is accessible. Also, the Attain Labs provide access to state-of-the-art technology for individuals with limited experience and knowledge of technology in order to function responsibly in an increasingly demanding technological world. So we are very excited to show you this map. Taylor's going to walk you through it. I'm very excited about this project, as Deputy Commissioner Macarone had stated. At this time, I'm turning over the presentation to Ms. Taylor Alfred here at OPCA, who has been the lead on this project, and will take you through the many useful facets of this map. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you, Michelle. So as Michelle just walked you through all the different layers, and within each layer, there are these pins, these icons you see here on the screen. You're probably familiar with seeing them on any other mapping app that you may use in your personal or work life. But the pin is also color coordinated to the layer that it is assigned, that the program is assigned to. The location of the pin is determined by the actual physical location of that program. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that program only serves individuals within that city. For example, we may have a program listed that's actually located in downtown Albany, but the program itself serves the entire capital region and the surrounding counties. So we have included that information for you on the map. And again, we will show you, and I will walk you through how to do that shortly. When you click on an actual data pin, we're calling them, on the actual map, you're going to be provided some very general information, the name, the address, the phone number, the website, and any extra information such as maybe the classes that are offered by that particular program, a link to a brochure, or maybe a listing of the counties that it covers or serves. The reason we provided very general information on the data pins is because we really want to direct you to the program's main website for the most up-to-date information, especially in a world of COVID where information is changing daily, by the hour it seems like some days. It's very important that we direct you to the main source for the most accurate information. And before I bring up the map and show you the functionality, we have 3 individuals with us today that are going to briefly talk about their program and how you can connect with them. All 3 individuals represent programs that we have included on the map, and they will each have an opportunity to share with you their information. So first, we have Dan Koss, who's the Assistant Statewide ADR Coordinator, at the New York State Unified Court System from the Office of Alternative Dispute Resolution Program. Dan, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Taylor, and thank you, Bob and Michelle, for including us. We're really pleased to be part of this resource map, and I'm going to quickly tell you about our Community Dispute Resolution Centers program. They are nonprofit community partners available throughout the state. We partner with 20 different nonprofit organizations. They have offices in about 50 of the counties and provide services everywhere, and including online these days. And as part of the follow-up, I understand that there'll be a bit of a handout that you can reference, and I hope that you will, because I'll only be able to address just a little bit of what we have to offer through the centers for you all, and just encourage you to take a look at that. CDRCs have been around for 35 years and have been providing community-based conflict resolution services for families, for businesses, for schools, and community organizations for those 35 years. And when the CDRCs were created, they were envisioned to provide a forum for people to have real conversation with each other, to improve communication, to build relationships, and to solve problems that they have. Those might be issues that are in front of a court, but they might also be issues that just happen among people in the community who aren't involved with any of the systems. So what I want to say at the very beginning is that CDRC services are free or at a sliding scale. So you or your clients can avail themselves of these services at any time at no cost. CDRCs offer services that are confidential. So people can feel free with what they talk about is confidential. They can feel open to talk about what's important to them, and that confidentiality is established by New York State law. And more than anything, we're really interested in supporting people having self-determination to make the decisions and have the conversations that are important to them. And we think this really can help to further your work, and a lot of our ideas around how this fits are based on our colleagues in Maryland who use the same community mediation model to support prisoner reentry. And so what I want to really focus on is, you all are the experts in this work, but I know enough that successful reentry is really kind of hinged on the resources that are included in this map. They're hinged on successful and positive educational opportunities for young people. They are successful reentry is hinged on employment and successfully being able to have meaningful employment, safe and stable housing, as well as meaningful relationships, pro-social relationships with family members and others in the community. And using tools such as mediation, where we sit down with folks who are having a disagreement or need to have an important conversation, we really help to build that. And so I'll just draw a few quick examples and just to paint a picture for you of situations where this might be helpful. In the family arena, co-parenting relationships with someone who is coming back from being incarcerated are very common. I've mediated them myself. So, for instance, I'll tell you I had a situation where returning incarcerated parent, in this case the father, was trying to reestablish a connection with their 2-year-old son, and he was surprised that the son wasn't really bonding with him so quickly. And so we mediated that situation between the mother and the father, and they had a chance for the first time to really talk about parenting and what that means to the dad. And she had a chance to talk about how she was nervous about the child spending time with the dad because she didn't know where he was living and whether it was a safe place. But that positive, purposeful relationship with the child was so important to the dad that they worked those things out and were able to come up with a plan that felt safe and connecting for everyone. And those are the sort of conversations we have that might help provide that solid family relationship. The other type of issue is it relates very much to housing, for example. Frequently, people who are coming back from being in detention or incarceration are really staying with family members, but sometimes those relationships have been very strained. And so frequently what happens is we are mediating types of situations between, say, someone who's returning from incarceration and a parent or a sibling who they're now going to live with. But they feel like the relationship is off because they feel hurt by what's happened in the past. So our mediation services are relevant in that they help people kind of talk about what it's been like to be away and what the impact has been on everyone, and set some ground rules of how they want to live together going forward so that the person who's returning to the community does have that safe and stable housing. This can also be related in housing to, working with a landlord-tenant issue, a neighbor issue. It can really run a full range of services we can offer there. And in the employment setting, for instance, one of the real things that influences someone's ability to hold the job for a long period of time is some of the soft skills. As important as the trade skills are and the technology skills are, the soft skills of being able to interact with colleagues, clients in a healthy way when there's disagreements. Again, we do mediate a great deal of what we would call employment or workplace types of disputes. And finally, in the educational world, for those younger individuals who are returning, we certainly work in concert with schools to have successful kind of reentry conferences, because frequently the young person has burned a lot of bridges at school and the school is very tentative about having that person come back. We can help to have a conversation that helps everyone kind of create the understanding of how returning to school can be a positive experience for everyone. We also manage school attendance and truancy issues through these processes and are also able to help with interpersonal disputes. I'm just going to wrap up here by sharing, just a couple research points from our colleagues in Maryland who have studied this extensively. I'm just going to share two things in closing. After just one mediation session, a couple hours, people who were asked afterwards, 59% said just in 2 hours that they both felt that their communication with each other and their ability to work together in the future had improved. So just in a 2-hour dose of services, people felt that much more optimistic and hopeful about their ability to manage future situations. And 83% of people had shared that they were more likely to think of different ways to solve problems and to think things through before kind of resorting to previously the way they may have handled it, which could have been quite destructive to relationships. So I strongly encourage you to look at the materials that will be shared. I personally invite you to reach out to me if you have questions or want to talk this through. Otherwise, I just recommend you use that map, you click on the link, and if you want to talk with someone at that community mediation center, that you reach out to them proactively and build a relationship with them, because I think you may find that their services can help at all stages of your supporting people to reenter the community. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Dan. That was great. And as you mentioned, I will share the information you had sent to me this morning when we send out this PowerPoint following this event, as well as the last slide of this PowerPoint will have Dan's email address so folks can take it down if they have any other questions for you. All right, switching gears to Dr. Donnell Pierce, the Director of Program Development and Community Initiatives at the New York State Department of Labor.
All right, thank you, Taylor, and also thank you, Michelle, for this opportunity, and good morning to everyone. Again, my name is Dr. Donnell Pierce, and it's certainly my pleasure to be with you all here today. The Labor Department, along with the Department of Health, has helped to spearhead a dual response to the COVID pandemic in New York State. So I certainly appreciate Deputy Commissioner Macron's opening statement and remarks in terms of ensuring our safety. Millions of residents of our great state remain negatively impacted by the pandemic and face compounding issues with unemployment or underemployment, including justice-involved individuals. Therefore, we're really excited about this opportunity and this initiative that DCJS is leading, and we're happy to partner in equipping all of you with resources that enable you to connect your clients, your customers with these resources across the state. The New York State Department of Labor aims to provide outstanding services to our customers, the workers and businesses that call New York home, and as they seek to grow and thrive in our modern economy. These services include those offered through our 95 career centers across the state, which are featured on this resource map, serving over 400,000 customers, including formerly incarcerated and justice-involved persons, to find the careers they seek by connecting them with new job opportunities, referring them to training opportunities that build their skills, and by ensuring that they are paid the proper wage to sustain their families. Career centers across the state also consist of a local bonding coordinator and reentry specialists, which I'm glad are a part of this webinar today, to assist job seekers. And I'll certainly expand on these in a few minutes. But of course, with tools like this, I'm really confident that we'll be able to positively.
Hey, Thomas, I'm going to be presenting in about 5 minutes. Can you try to keep it down?
All right. But really excited about this resource map. As mentioned, NYSDOL has 95 convenient career centers that provide services at no cost to job seekers across the state. Career center services include, which Michelle kind of highlighted earlier, career counseling for individuals facing barriers to employment, resume development, workshops, and job clubs on a variety of topics, resource rooms, which provide access to computers, internet, fax, phone, copiers, etc., adult education and English as second language resources, job placement assistance, events and recruitment, job fairs, some on-site, some have switched to virtual career and job fairs, vocational training, an online job bank, and accommodations and adaptive technology. But it's really important to just remember that many of the career centers, even now, the hours of operation have been impacted by COVID. So therefore, you should probably call ahead to see if the local career center is open to customers or providing services virtually. So in the near future, the New York State Department of Labor will be rolling out additional virtual services that we can share with you all at that time. More specific to individuals with involvement in the criminal justice system or justice involved, career centers, again, have local bonding coordinators. They help to inform job seekers of rights and responsibilities under federal and New York State laws and policies, such as the Fair Chance Hiring Act, New York State Record Sealing Law, New York State Corrections Law, Article 23A, and New York State Human Rights Law. One of the programs that we oversee is the Federal Bonding Program, which is a tool to assist high-risk job applicants with obtaining competitive employment. It offers free 6-month fidelity bonding with no deductibles to a business or organization who hires an eligible job seeker. A local bonding coordinator works with the qualifying businesses and/or the job seeker to issue the bonds. NYSDOL also helps individuals understand how to read their state, federal record of arrest, prosecution, or rap sheets, and address any errors that they may find on them. We also help them understand how to request a training achievement and potential employment report, which is also known as TAPR. This reflects an individual's vocational training achievements while perhaps incarcerated in a New York State facility. The document also indicates the task and job titles for which an individual has been credited, including apprenticeships, completions of high school equivalency programs, or higher education degrees. So these are just some of the things that career centers are able to help and assist. They also coach job seekers in answering some of those tough questions that may be posed on a job interview related to one's background pertaining to justice involvement. And also, again, the Fidelity Bonding Demonstration Grant, which New York State was awarded in May 2019, awarded $100,000 from the United States Department of Labor. And this grant will fund and sustain New York's use of the federal bonding program. So through FBP, NYSDOL can provide fidelity bonds to employers to mitigate the risk of hiring individuals whose criminal backgrounds pose barriers to securing employment. So again, I'm really excited about this resource map. I know that with tools like this, I remain confident, we remain confident that we'll be able to positively impact the lives of individuals by supporting them onto a path towards success and altering the trajectory of their futures. Thank you for your time today, and especially thank you all for the work that you do.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, Joseph Tedesco, Manager of the Independent Living Services, Statewide Coordinator for Business Relations, the New York State Education Department, Access VR. Joe, the floor is yours.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I guess I need to start this presentation off with an apology to you, Dr. Don Appiers. I guess I'm keeping it real here with COVID and working at home. My son is in the other room making some noise, and I didn't realize I was unmuted. So I'm a bit embarrassed, but, I guess I'm keeping it real. So
no worries. No worries.
It happens.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to be part of Access VR, and myself, we're proud to be part of this resource map. Thank you, Taylor, Michelle, for inviting me to be a panelist. Truly appreciated. I'm excited to be able to present some information about Access VR. For anyone who's not familiar with Access VR, we fall under the umbrella of the New York State Education Department. We have 15 district office locations statewide and 10 satellite offices for a total of 25 locations to access services. As Michelle mentioned earlier, our mission is to help individuals with disabilities to achieve and maintain employment, support independent living, all through training, education, rehabilitation, and career development. Let's see. Some Access VR basics. Access VR is eligibility driven. It's not an entitlement program. It's a voluntary program, provides VR or vocational rehabilitation services, and it's funded by state and federal dollars. Access VR helps people with disabilities whose their disabilities may make it harder for them to find or keep a job. Some types of individuals that should apply. They should apply if they want to work, if they have the legal right to work in the United States, and that they would be able to work as a result of services. As mentioned earlier, Access VR is not an entitlement program. It's eligibility driven. Some criteria to be eligible for services. The individual must have a physical or mental impairment that either prevents them or significantly affects their ability to prepare for, enter into, engage in, retain, or advance in employment. They are eligible if there's a reasonable expectation that services will lead to employment, and also that the disability does not prevent this individual's participation in VR services. For any of your individuals that are SSI or SSDI recipients, there's a presumption of eligibility, which simply means that if they have proof of SSI or DI services, that we can make them eligible immediately, and they are often assigned a specific level of disability, which is significantly disabled. If there's concern about their ability to benefit, we can still send them out for a trial work experience, and that would be done to gauge their level of disability and their level of functioning. Let's just quickly talk about some types of disabilities. Some types of disabilities may be low vision, hearing loss, any type of orthopedic disability, carpal tunnel syndrome, lower back strain, mental illness, respiratory disabilities, cardiac disabilities, substance abuse, arthritis, MS or multiple sclerosis, cerebral palsy, any type of intellectual disability, allergies, diabetes, learning disabilities, speech impediments. Again, that's not an exhaustive list, just an example of number of disabilities that individual can have and be eligible for services. So other considerations, Access VR, we look at all disabilities that the individual has, so not just the referral disability. If the individual has a justice-involved history, history of felonies or other convictions does not mean that the individual has a disability. Again, just making sure we're all speaking the same language. Just because an individual has a felony or any other type of conviction doesn't mean that they have a disability. Briefly touch on some services that Access VR can provide. We could provide job counseling, assessment, job development. We can assist with placement services. We can help with attending college, BOCES, or other classroom training, vocational technical training, driver training, occupational licenses. For individuals with more significant disabilities, we can help with supported employment, vehicle modifications, self-employment plans, high school to work transition services, any type of rehabilitation technology that the individual may need to find or maintain employment, job coaching services, and for employers, we can offer hiring incentives. How a service is determined, we look at, does the individual have transferable skills? Do their current skills need updating? Does the individual need retraining? How are services determined? Some factors that we consider, we look at their interests and aptitudes. We can provide diagnostic vocational evaluations and other types of evaluations to gauge interests and aptitudes. We look at the individual's strengths, their limitations, the cost effectiveness of the services that are being proposed, our agency policy, and the job market. There are a number of services that are not based on income, such as medical, psychological assessments, any types of evaluations like rehab technology evaluations, vocational evaluations and interest inventories, vocational counseling, supported employment, job placement, and work tryouts and on-the-job training. There are some services that are based on income. Those are training at colleges, universities, training programs, books and supplies, any maintenance that we would be providing an individual towards their college or training expenses, home modifications, vehicle mods, and work site modifications, driver training, transportation. Some job placement services that we can provide. We provide work readiness training, job seeking skills training, direct placement services, short-term job coaching, interview skills training, supported employment. And then with services that we can provide or assistance we can provide in employers, we can provide federal and New York State tax credits and wage reimbursement programs, as well as some other services for business, such as worker retention services. So again, we're a resource on disability awareness, accommodations, and ADA. And throughout New York State, we have assisted roughly 15,000 individuals were successfully employed in 2019. I will, after today's presentation, provide Michelle and Taylor some additional information as to individuals that can be contacted in each district office location. They are my integrated employment specialists that can be contacted for guidance. Also, I'll provide the web link for our online application and some information to help the individual complete that application. And then there are also 3 videos posted that are group orientation videos, and they provide an overview of Access VR services. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe, and I'd be more than happy to share that information with the group after the event. So again, thank you all so much for being our panelists today. The information you provided was incredibly helpful, and I hope everyone here does reach out to their career center in their area, their Access VR office, or their community dispute resolution center in their area, and establish that relationship and move forward in that. So now we're going to move on to the demonstration. I promised to have you out by lunch, if not just a little bit after lunch, so I hope you will stay on. Even if we do go a little bit over our time slot here, I do think you will find this incredibly informative and helpful to see me go through the map myself versus you learning on the fly. So I appreciate your participation. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show the map on a screen. So if you are watching remotely, you should be able to see the map on the screen. I'm going to just ask that someone with their camera on give me a thumbs up to confirm that you can see the map. Okay, perfect. So just a quick recap. As we said, there's these layers. The layers are listed here on the left-hand side of the map. This is what you would actually see if you were to click on the map yourself on your own phone, tablet, or desktop. But as I go through this demonstration, I want to let folks know if you have any questions that pop into your mind, feel free to throw them in the Q&A box, and we will answer those after I go through the demonstration. So don't feel like you can't ask them now. So again, recapping the layers on the left-hand side, as you scroll down, you will see them. As I mentioned before, they are color-coded, so you will see the pins listed underneath each of the distinct categories. On the map, there's, your mouse. You can zoom in. You can click and drag. If you wanted to go down to the New York City region, you could just move and drag the map that way. Just as you would if you were on your iPhone and you were walking down the streets and you were trying to find a location, it has the same user functionality that you would doing that. On the left-hand side, as I mentioned, are your layers. You can click on an individual pin over here, or you can click on the map, and I'll show you both options. So if I were to click on the first pin under Access VR, for example, you're going to see the information that I provided earlier listed. So you have your name, you have the layers associated with, just for reference, got the address, the phone number, a website link, and the extra information. So like I mentioned, if a physical program like this Access VR location is downtown Rochester, but it serves the surrounding counties, you would know that by clicking on the pin and seeing that information. You hit the back arrow up in this orange bar to bring you back to your main catalog listing of layers. You can do a couple different things from here. If you'd like to only look at a particular layer, you can unselect the category by unselecting these check marks. And as you can see, if you're keeping an eye on the map, as I unselect a category, the pins are falling off the map. So if I unclick all of them for the sake of the demonstration, what's left are the SUNY, EOC, and Attain labs. And if I zoom out, I'll be able to just see those locations. I can then re-add the maps, the layers, and the pins will reappear back on the map. So again, if you wanted to look at things that were just educational based, you could pull off all the non-educational layers and leave on just those resources. So it is customizable on your end as far as what you would like to look at one time. You can click on a pin by zooming in on the map at the particular program you wanted. And if you clicked on the pin, you would see the information pop up on the left-hand side as well. So again, it's the same information for every pin located on this map. It has the same subcategories of information. And a reminder, that is to really direct you to the main website for that program so you can receive the most up-to-date information, because as you heard from the presenters in the field today, things are changing. Because of COVID, you may be finding programs are more remote versus in person, and that could change depending on, as we come out of this tunnel of COVID. So you want to make sure you're going to the website of the program to get the most up-to-date information. The next feature I'm going to show you is a search feature. So what you can do is up here in this orange bar is there's a magnifying glass. If I click on that magnifying glass and I type in a word, a city, any sort of specific keyword, it's going to bring up the results. So just because I'm from Rochester and it happens to be on my mind all the time, I tend to use that as my example. So if I type in the word Rochester, it gives me a couple of different options. I can move the map directly to Rochester, and it will automatically zoom in on that region. So then if I wanted to fully zoom in, I could go in and see the programs. The other option you have is seeing a listing of the results here on the left-hand side. Now, the interesting thing about the search feature is it's not just picking up the word Rochester from the title of the program. It's picking up the word Rochester from any aspect of the PIN, any data that is located within a PIN, it's picking up. For example, it's picking up the Rochester District Office for Access VR, but it's also picking up other programs, for example, down here, where maybe it's not listed in the title of the program, but the city is included. So just keeping that in mind when you're searching, it's going to pick up anything that the word Rochester is tied to that PIN, which is very important when you're doing your search to remember that, because as we said before, just because a PIN location is in one particular spot doesn't necessarily mean that it serves just folks in that city. And again, I'm bringing you back to the example of the Rochester District Office for the Access VR, where it serves counties surrounding downtown Rochester. The map is incredibly user-friendly. It's interactive in the sense that you can determine which pins are present on the map at one time, and there are over 400 pins located on this map. And I encourage you to utilize this resource, to play around with it, to click on various pins, figure out what the best way that you're going to research and search for your programs in your area, and find a way that works best for you. But I just want to let you know that it is incredibly user-friendly when you start to click in here. It is not daunting. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to myself, and I will be happy to walk you through it. As far as the demonstration goes, that's it. That's how user-friendly and easy the map is. It's meant to be a catalog, a one-stop shop where you go and you search for the programs in your area, or in a field or category that's interest of you, you can go ahead and do that on the map yourself. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I access the map? Well, there's a couple of different ways. After this webinar, we are actually going to send a link to the map, so you'll be able to pull it up in a web browser yourself on your computer. You can save it as a favorite on your desktop, whatever web browser you use. It is compatible. It's also compatible on an iPhone or a tablet. The other location we are posting the map is to the DCJS website, and currently ITS is in the process of uploading the map to the website, so we hope to have that up there within the coming days. There's going to be two different locations. On the main OPCA webpage, it will be right there, front and center, embedded into the website, so you can click on it that way. And it will also be listed on the Reentry Initiative page within the DCJS website. So two locations on the DCJS website, as well as a link that you can save in your bookmarks menu on your preferred web browser. The one thing I will encourage folks to remind themselves of is that the most up-to-date version of the map is going to be the map that's on the DCJS website. So as Michelle said, as we update and add to the map, we're going to share a link, yes, but also if you lose the link or you forget the link, going to the DCJS website is going to bring you to the most up-to-date version of the resource map that we are sharing with you. Speaking of those updates, we are going to keep the map as up-to-date as possible. We are committed to doing that. We've committed to reviewing it quarterly. We are actually, the next layer that we are planning on adding is an apprenticeship layer. It's currently, quote, under construction. So we hope to have those programs for you in the coming weeks. So you will see an update as soon as 2021. And that's the commitment we are making to this map moving forward. We also are hope that this is potentially the first of a few different maps to come out of OPCA with various themes, so stay tuned on that coming down the pipeline. If you have any programs or resources that you'd like to add that you don't necessarily see on this map the first go around, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself. I put my email address in here. We will review the programs, we'll vet them, we'll make sure there aren't any concerns, and we will add an update to the map as needed. So we appreciate getting that information back from you all as well. We want this to be a comprehensive listing, and without your help, we wouldn't be able to accomplish that. So moving on to the questions portion, we have a couple different, my colleagues, Melinda Vick and Frank Cangiano, have been monitoring the chat and the Q&A. I know I have questions coming directly to me as the host. I will do my best to go through those questions, I think, first, maybe. That might be best, and then I'll let Frank and Melinda chime in with any questions that they may have, and we can, hopefully facilitate and answer these questions. Anything we don't get to right away, I know we're in crunch for time, we will follow up with you directly as it relates to your questions. So I'm just going to scroll through my chat here. Let's see. I believe this is a question for Joe. Do clients with IEPs automatically qualify?
Hi, Michelle. No. The individual with an IEP we would look at their disability, at their limitations, and the impact that that has on employment, and then make that eligibility determination. More often than not, an individual with an IEP will be eligible, but it's not an automatic eligibility.
Hi, Joe. This is Michelle Clark at DCJS. I also just wanted to point out, and correct me if I'm wrong, an IEP, individual education plan, is something that is developed in school with an individual. So for those of you who are looking to decipher the acronym, that is what an IEP is. Usually there is some sort of disability or problem related to that, and that's a very good question. So thank you.
So another question that came in through the chat were, are there programs available related to vocation, trade, schooling, and certification? So we did include vocational programs on this map, and like I mentioned, we are adding an apprenticeship layer. So stay tuned for more program listings along that category. Just scrolling through, so just bear with me here.
Good morning, it's Michelle again. I just wanted to mention, Taylor, with respect to our apprenticeships also, that there are many apprenticeships available in New York State, and we are absolutely committed to working with DOL to ensure that we get the list of apprenticeships on our map as soon as possible. Thank you.
Agreed.
So there were a couple people that said they couldn't see the map, and that could be depending on what platform you're using this Cisco on. This event was recorded, so we will be posting it to the DCJS website, as well as when you get the link for the map, you'll be able to pull it up on your screen and zoom and search yourselves. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact myself, and I can walk you through that. How do you get to the site via computer? I think we answered that, the DCJS website, as well as a link that will be shared out via email. And I think that's all the questions I had in my personal chat. I'll open it up to Frank and Melinda if you have any that you'd like to mention that were thrown your way. I think you might be muted, Frank.
Hi, this is Frank. I was muted. I think most of the questions that were asked directly to you, Taylor, were also asked in the Q&A session box, mainly regarding the ability for attendees to access the map and how to access the map. So I think we've addressed those questions.
Great. So I'm going to take an assumption that we can move on from the questions and answer period. And if anyone has anything that they'd like to mention later on, I have our contact information. So I'll turn it over to Michelle to close us out. And on my behalf, I just want to say thank you all for being here today, and I wish you a very happy holiday season. Michelle? I think you might be muted too, Michelle. Sorry.
And I was. Thank you very much. I wanted to take a moment again to thank you all for being here today. This webinar is recorded, or was recorded rather, and it will be posted to the DCJS website. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to the presenters, as well as Deputy Commissioner Macarone, for participating in our webinar. The presentations were wonderful, and lots of information will be coming your way as attendees from these presenters to share more information about their programs and services. And without further delay, I'd just like to say I wish you a very safe, happy, and healthy holiday season on behalf of DCJS. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, everyone.